Joining me now, South Dakota Senator Mike Rounds. And Senator, you've authored legislation to sort of, push back on the ESG and these other trends, by the way, which are designed to sort of gut business profits and even business culture. But what I'm wondering, is it too little too late? This is a multi-trillion-dollar juggernaut on both sides of the Atlantic.
Well, it is a juggernaut, but these types of new proposals should come through elected officials. And right now, the SEC is trying to do this just using a bureaucratic approach to rulemaking. In fact, the last time around here, their last rulemaking process, and by the way, there's been over 24 of these through the SEC in just the last year, but the last one was 510 pages at length. And the goal of it was not to whether or not there was a chance for an investor to make a profit. They were talking strictly about what had to do with the environment or with governance. Primarily what they're suggesting is that they want to go after climate change through rulemaking, and that's not the way that it should be done. Right. The SEC doesn't have any experts in there on that, but what they are trying to do is to put pressure on those entities, those businesses that many people are trying to invest in. So what we've done is propose that any new rules that they have an interest in proposing have to be materially directed at whether or not an investor would find it useful for profit-making purposes. Would an investor want that information to make a determination on whether or not they want to invest? And this would apply to not only the Securities Act of 1933, but the Securities Exchange Act of 1934.
Sir, let me ask you about President Biden. Right now, the White House really seems to be in a tailspin after misjudging Saudi Arabia. There's a lot of talk now about punishing Saudi Arabia for cutting their production. Many people are just saying, why don't we just call a truce on the war on fossil fuels here at home? It's a delicate thing, but should we be punishing Saudi Arabia? Should we be looking for some other solutions to help Americans?
The best solution is to become independent when it comes to energy once again. President Biden sent a terrible message the first day in office when he started telling investors, I can shut down billion-dollar energy projects with the stroke of a pen. What that said to investors is I could lose a lot of money if I invest in traditional, proven energy sources. That's the wrong message to send. We have to get back to allowing investors to recognize the need for long-term energy sources. We can keep them clean. We don't have to say we're going to limit it to one. What we can do is simply say that we're going to allow for investment in all energy sources. We ought to be looking at clean atomic energy, nuclear energy right now. We ought to be looking at getting oil and gas back in the market. Natural gas can be produced right now, and it is very clean. But the bottom line is why would an investor go in there and invest billions of dollars in major projects if a single person, the President of the United States, can shut down an entire multi-billion-dollar project with the stroke of a pen? It was a terrible message to send. And the regulatory environment in this country right now, which appears to be anti-energy, is the wrong direction to go. If we really want to be tough on Russia, if we want to be tough on other oil producers, we should be competitive once again, and we should be able to put ourselves in a position of not being reliant on outside sources.
Absolutely. I agree 1,000%, sir. Thank you so much, Senator. I really appreciate it, and good luck with this pushing back on that ESG movement. There's some ulterior motives there.